They saying you watch 44. They saying your time is up 44. They saying it's time to hang up the jersey 44. They saying you ain't got it no more like you used to 44. That's what they saying. I don't even think they want to take you serious 44. Niggas must have forgot who 44 is on some shit. Lewis Hamilton, I believe my nigga. Lock in. We don't need to tell you how great you are. You already know this shit. Just go out there and show us again. Show us again. They already done counted you out. You got nothing to lose on some shit. I ain't hearing none of the noise, man. Parlay on Hamilton. What you gonna do 44?
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Chat with Sid, Instagram Sid. We got a quick episode today. We got some breaking news about the WNBA. You know, I said last week, I was like, I haven't been watching it. It's like kind of boring. I guess someone decided to not make it boring anymore. We'll get to that. And we have the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest. So we got a recap of that whole weekend. So let's just get started. The breaking news. Someone was throwing dildos at these WNBA games. Now, I heard they arrested the person. They did arrest the dude. It started off with one, a bright green thing flying onto the court. Okay, ha, he, kind of funny. We get to about the second or third. It's like, okay, what are we doing here, guys? This is harassment. Like, what is going on? Because why would you think this is funny? Like the first one, not gonna lie, the first one got me. I did cackle a little bit. I was like, this is kind of funny. It's a little funny. Dildo gets thrown in the middle of the floor. How did y'all even sneak that into the arena? Like, aren't y'all supposed to have clear bags that aren't like, inch by inch by inch? Like these look. Aren't you supposed to be only carrying dime bags into the arena only because they're clear and they don't allow no liquids, don't allow no thing, don't allow anything but your damn phone? How'd you get that inside the court? Is the first question. Second question, why bright green? Bright green is a crazy color. If you didn't see it, I'll just put a little clip in. I'm not gonna show it because guidelines, but put a little clip.
And you can see the object, the block right there, and the object comes, that green thing bounces and it goes to the sideline.
So yeah, like why that color? Like it was very bright. Like Grinch bright. Like why would you do that? And then second of all, why would you think this is appropriate? Again, like I said, this is like the first time you get a cackle out of me. The third time, guys, what are we doing here? Like this is harassment. Also, how are they getting away with this so many times? Like if this happened at an NBA game, that person would have been arrested after the first one, not allowed back in, put on a blacklist. Like they're never coming back. But for WNBA, for some reason, they're like, oh, this is kind of cute and funny. No, it's not. After the first one. the first one was funny. The second and third, not funny no more. And like I said in my TikTok, you should just be able to do this at the guys' games. If we can do this at the girls' games, you should start throwing dildos and pocket pussies at the guys' games. Because what are we doing here? Why would you think that's okay? Like it's not okay. Now, did it make for some interesting conversation for like 30 minutes? But other than that, what people are so into cloud chasing now for what? For what reason? Like it doesn't even make sense. That's all you're getting out of me for my podcast. You're getting 3 minutes of a conversation from a no-name podcast somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Congratulations. You played yourself. Now on to the next thing. Now I got that off my chest. We can move on to the next thing. Let's get into Formula One. No! All right, let's get into F1. So, like I said, Hungarian Grand Prix, we have the qualifying. So, let's start with just the obvious. Hamilton and Antonelli out again in Q2. I don't even want to speak on neither one of them. Hamilton had a rough weekend. He's in his feels, and I feel for that man. He is going through the motions. I don't know if it's on behind closed doors with Ferrari, which I'll touch you towards the end. I don't know what it is, if he's just not getting to grasp with the car. He's just not feeling it. He's not feeling himself. He's not feeling the car. He's not feeling anything right now. He's a little bit depressed. He seems a little sad. So yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that. I hope he finds his mojo back. I hope he can get out of this funk he's in, because it's not really feeling good for us. And I'm saying for us, like I know he's not feeling good right now. Like he said it out his mouth. He is not feeling good right now. What? So we're gonna get past that. Now, another person that I've actually been thinking about of like choosing a different team. Well, he didn't really choose. He kind of got kicked out of Ferrari. But Juan Carlos did have to choose what team he was going to go to. And last year he was taking up all this time and he chose Williams. It's not looking like he made the best choice. I'm not going to lie. Especially depending on how they do next year when Sauber, like Kick Sauber now turns into Audi. We'll see like if he actually made the right move. But for now, does it look like he made the right move? Because he got out in Q3 again in Williams. And he's been getting out Q3 in Williams for the past like few races. Now I don't know if it's like I said, it's a car, they maybe gave some upgrades, or maybe he's just not doing well because last week he was in Q3 and Alex was up in like P5, was up in the top 10. So it's just not looking evenly keeled and balanced. So I don't know, like I said, what is going on with Williams. All I know is, do y'all think Carlos made a mistake in going to Williams and not going to Sauber? Because right now, Sauber is looking like they might kick the Williams out in the for fifth place, especially for like one of the bottom tier teams. Then they all be fighting for scraps of points. It's looking like Sauber might actually end up being on top. Like Sauber might beat out all of them. That's what it's looking like right now. Like the way Hulkenberg and even Bortoletto this past weekend getting in the top 10, like they have been driving their butts off. Everything has been looking good. Their pit stops have been good because that was a whole problem last year. Their drivers look good. They've been getting some solid points. Like, did Carlos make a mistake? That's the question I'm posing to y'all because I personally think he did. I think he made a mistake, and I think he's now starting to realize it. Like it's sitting with him, like, yo, I think I made a mistake because if what we're hearing about how Audi is going to like transform that team within the next year or two, that he maybe should have stuck it out being in Sauber for a year, and then like when they transferred to Audi, like it would be a whole different team. I don't know if that was going to be completely true or not, but from the way they're looking now, if they keep on going towards this trajectory and then the Audi comes in and that new regulations and then they blast off, he made the wrong choice. He for sure made the wrong choice because they're looking solid right now, like extremely solid. So I know he's sitting there shaking his head. I was gonna say wishing he was in the Ferrari, but I don't even think he wishes he was there. He is technically, someone said this before, and I thought it was actually wild. He is the last Ferrari race winner because even though Lewis did win the sprint in China earlier this year, and he didn't win like a full Grand Prix race, Charles or Lewis didn't. So he is technically the last Ferrari race winner. So yeah, I don't know if he's really missing Ferrari that much, but I know he's missing being in like a top 3 car for sure, which is so unfortunate for him. But anyhow, going into qualifying, we have Oscar and Lando second and third, and surprisingly, talking about Ferrari, I didn't know they was gonna make it this far. I don't think they even knew they were gonna make it this far. Charles got on to pole. So Charles Leclerc started in the first place. Like I said, Hamilton was out in Q2, so he wasn't even in the top 10, so I'm not even going to go over that. But Charles being in first place is a good sign, or so you think. Another thing that was surprising in qualifying, Aston Martin's making it into the top 10. Again, where did they come from? Out of nowhere. What is happening? Who knows? Maybe it's just like luck of the draw for this week, but they made it into the top 10. So we'll see where they end up. Going into the race, first start of lap 1. I'm going to cut all that out because I was stuttering. I was so excited. Start of lap 1. Charles stays in first. Got that out the way, thank God. I was scared he was going to lose it to both Oscar and Lando, honestly. Charles stays on first. Oscar, I think, was trying to get to him, but then also had to defend Lando at the same time. So he ended up just backing up, defending off Lando. Lando loses 2 places against George and Fernando Alonso in Aston Martin. So now he got to work his way back up. So Hungary is called the race of Monaco without the walls, essentially meaning it's hard as hell to pass here. Hard as hell to pass in Hungary. You have basically one part of the raceway where you could pass is like right along the straight where they start. That is the only place you're passing. That is it. So because of that, it's all about strategy. Are we doing a 1-stop strategy or a 2-stop strategy? That is the name of the game for this race. Now, talking mainly about the top 3, like I said, Charles was in first. He defended off Oscar, so he's running in first place. He's a couple seconds ahead of them. Everything is looking cool and well for Ferrari. They decided they're gonna go with the two-stop tire strategy. Okay, that is the most recommended one. They have the one stop, but depending on tire temperatures and the temperature of the track itself, the two stop is the safer option to go for. He was comfortably ahead, not a full pit stop ahead, but he was like, let's say 3-4 seconds ahead. So he was ahead enough. They said we're gonna do the two-stop strategy. He said, okay, cool. They do the first stop. All right, everyone does their first stop. You know, people stop in different places. Lando does their stop. Oscar, everything. Charles back in front. They do the second stop. Now, after the second stop, Charles is looking remarkably slow, like incredibly slow. And they stop like super early for that second stop. And so people are like, yo, what is going on? Like, why did they stop so early? One. And two, why is he looking so slow? So come to find out, the second tires that he put on, they upped the tire pressure and they raised him off of the ground because his skidwear plate, like the plate that's kind of sitting below, remember we talked about rules before, and if you kind of ride too low on the ground, it wears down the plate too much, and then that's like against the rules. So they were riding really low, and they were like, "Ooh, it's looking like if we do a one stop, and he keeps going at the pace he's at, we're probably gonna like run into like plank wear problems. So let's up the pressure, get the car off the ground a little bit, so we don't have to worry about this, knowing that it's gonna slow them down." So they were worried about basically just getting disqualified out of anything, which makes sense, right? If you're gonna be in the top 2, 3, you want to make the points and not, get disqualified. So when they did that and they let him know that, Charles, I guess because they didn't let him know the reasoning why, they just told him like, hey, we added some tire pressure, like we're gonna have to do it this way. Sorry, whatever. And he has to lift and coast. So he has to do that and he has to like not break as late. So he was on the radio on a rampage. What? He told them off, his engineer, everybody. He said, bro, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. Y'all don't even want to listen to me. Like, what is happening? I'm the one driving. Going off on a rampage to the point where they had to cut it off. Like, they literally cut it off from the live feed, like what he said on the radio.
This is so incredibly frustrating. We've lost all competitiveness. You just have to listen to me. I would have found a different way of managing those issues. Now it's just undrivable. It's a miracle if we finish on the podium.
It was wild. So, like I said, he didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. And then afterwards, he was like, oh, no, nothing happened. Like, I was just freaking out, the pressure of driving, blase, blase. And I think it's because low key, they probably did get disqualified. Like, if they were to measure their plank, they were probably like, ooh, like it was cutting it close. But, like, I don't know. I feel like that's, again, what is Ferrari doing? Like, why would you, knowing how this track is, knowing how last year, I think Hamilton got disqualified here and Charles, I think they both got disqualified here last year because of like Hamilton because of plank wear issues, Charles because of something else. I guess they had so much PTSD from last year. They were like, yeah, let's not try and disqualify ourselves this time. Let's just, if we're slow, we're slow. And so because of that, he ended up going from first to fourth. He wasn't even on the podium. So he lost the podium and everything because of this whole situation. And my thing is, if you knew this was going to happen, you were so scared. Like, we know the track at this point. We know that it has heavy plank wear because of the braking zones. Why would you put the ride so low? Why would you ride the car that low? Why would you not change the chassis and raise the car up a little bit? That's just my thing. Now, I don't know if that's possible. I'm just talking, spitballing here. I'm thinking it's possible. I'm hoping it's possible. Because, like, why wouldn't it be? But, yeah, that is kind of the tea as to why Charles, 1, went off on the radio, 2, went from first to fourth place, and he lost out on a podium. So, Ferrari just doing Ferrari things, making a mess out of everything behind the scenes. Having great drivers, but can't just get their stuff together for their great drivers to win races and to win championships. Which is kind of another thing that they mentioned. There is some beef going on with, I forget his name. There's these like older dudes in F1 that like be talking about Lewis Hamilton all the time and how Lewis wants to kind of change a lot of the things in terms of like the Ferrari insides and how they do a lot of their stuff because they have like huge teams. Like, it's a legend team, but they are like embedded. Like, there's like tens of people trying to make like decisions. And it's just not working out well for Ferrari. They have not won championships literally within the last like 15 years. Like Vettel tried to come in, couldn't win the championship. Charles has been here for years, can't win a championship. Lewis is now here, like it's looking like he's struggling with the car and everything like that. So the last time they won a championship is with like Michael Schumacher back in like 2010, or not even before that, like 2008 or something like that. So they haven't won championship in a long time, and it seems like it's because of like internal problem. They've been switching team principals left, right, and center. They had like 10 team principals over the last like 27 years. It's not looking good, and they need to figure out what is happening, and quickly. Anywho, getting past that conversation, we're gonna go into now Oscar and Lando. Once Charles is out of contention, now we're fighting between the two McLarens, which we've been doing literally for the past like year. I'm not even gonna say past couple weeks. The past year has been like Oscar Lando, trying to figure out who's gonna win the championship battle. Now, McLaren's winning automatically, but now it's time for the individual drivers. So, at this point in the race, everyone is kind of trying to figure out if it's a two-stop or a one-stop, right? Because the first set of people that are on the two-stop, they stopped maybe a little bit earlier, probably like 10 or so laps earlier than the people that were trying to maybe push for like a one-stop strategy. So at this point in the race, the temperature on the track is actually like getting lower. I think it gets the wind or the weather, whatever was happening, the track temperature is lowering. When the track temperature lowers, it's actually more in favor of a one-stop race. But like I said, this is all happening simultaneously. Like they're trying to figure out as like all these things are happening, all these conditions are changing. So like I said, they're still kind of in between two-stop or one-stop, and two-stop is the safer option. So because at this point Oscar I think is out in front, he opts for the two-stop strategy. He's like, all right, I'll do the two-stop. Like let's do it, whatever. Now at this point, they tell Lando, and I think Lando decides like he's gonna just go for it, being that he's in second regardless. He gonna opt for the one-stop strategy. He's like, bet I either like do the one stop, my tires degrade, and Oscar passed me again, and I'm in second, or I do the one stop and I stay in front of him because my tires don't degrade. So he has the choice to kind of like go all out and go for it. So they let him do the one stop strategy. He basically undercuts his teammate because he does the one stop strategy. He wins by not default, but he like wins by strategy call, not by like racing pace. And Lando wins the race. Oscar gets second, and then again George sneaking up on the podium gets third. George is, like I said, loves sneaking up on the podium. He gets third place. So because of that, people are now talking about like, hey, did they hand Lando the win? Like he, again, didn't run the best of races. They're not really like, for papaya rules is like, yeah, you can fight to win the race, but like you can't fight. And the end of the race was the most interesting part, because the end of the race was like literally, again, you can't pass except for like the last straight of the race. So Oscar was on like Lando's tail for like the last 5 laps. Like last 5 laps, Oscar was on him. At one point, he locks up though, so he like moves back outside of the DRS range, comes back into DRS range. Kent catches him. Lando was on his P's and Q's. I'll give Lando that. Those last 5 laps, he was concentrating. He was making sure he didn't make no mistakes. Because, you get like that. Sometimes you make a little mistake, a slip up, he out the race. So he made sure not to make any mistakes. He was on his P's and Q's. But he still ended up winning and beating Oscar. But yeah, they were saying that, McLaren's been, because basically Oscar did try a lunge, and then McLaren got on the radio like, yo, we're racing, but race clean. Like, let's remember, we're not taking each other out. So it's like they kind of want them to race, but then they don't. Like, they want them basically, they're battling along the pit wall. So it's basically like who can make the better strategy call. Because when it comes to like literally racing on the track, if you do like a little, a little move that's a little shisty, then they're like, oh, you don't race too hard. But like you can be next to each other, but not really. And like, it's so weird. They're like, oh, you can undercut them, but like, don't try and run them off the road. And you shouldn't try to run them off the road. But like, let them race a little bit harder. It's like they want them to race by strategy. They want them to like outsmart each other, not outdrive each other. And if this was the battle of the engineers, like, yeah, this would be fun to like see them outsmart each other. But like, we are racing. It's the battle of the drivers. It's the driver championship they're fighting for. Let them dudes drive. Like, let them actually fight on the track and not fight by the, strategy calls. But that's just my opinion on things. What do y'all think? Do you think that they should, give them the same strategy and just let them like race out on track as drivers? Do you think it should be like adding everything together, so they should try to outsmart each other and like outdrive each other? What's the best way McLaren should go about this? Because at this point, they can try anything because they are already in front for the constructors, so they're not worried about that. It's now trying to let these boys race and like at least make it a fun sport to watch, and not that like I said, the battle of the engineers, the battle of the strategists. Like we are trying to find who's going to be the best driver. Let them drive to see who's the best driver. That's what I think should happen. Let them race like it's like Hamilton and Verstappen back in 2021, which we saw a little glimpse of that during the race. We saw Verstappen drive Hamilton off the road for P10, which, by the way, why would he try and do that for P10? But I guess he just saw Hamilton. He was like, PTSD, let me crash into him because I'm racing for what? Like, I think Verstappen only got up to like P7. And I think Hamilton wasn't even in the points. I think he got P11. Like, what are we doing here? I saw him run off the road. I said, no way you did that for P10. Verstappen, you really trying to run him off the road for P10? That's what we're doing? Ugh. And Hamilton didn't even go to the stewards after. Like, they had to fight that at the stewards. Hamilton was like, I don't even care. He said, I don't got points anyway, so what would it matter to me? He was like, I'm behind him anyway, and I'm not going to get the points. I do not care. I am not going to the stewards for that. Like, he was like, if it was first place, yeah. But for P10, and we saw how last time it went with the stewards. Like about 2021. Again, we're not going to go there. That travesty of the final race in 2021. But that is basically the recap for this last race. I know it was kind of long-winded, but I had to make the episode stretch out. Like I said, it's gonna be mainly F1, guys. Once NBA starts and NFL starts, I'll talk about that. I just saw the trailer for the new Jordan Peele movie, which is about like football. It is looking like a little body horror. It is looking a little scary, and I do not like scary movies. But I might go watch it for y'all, give y'all a little review of the movie because it is kind of like a sports movie. So I'll let you know. But that's coming out in September, so it's a ways away. But yeah, like I said, when basketball comes back, when football comes back, I will be talking about it. But for right now, we are on the F1 train. Catch y'all later.
He wants to be the star too often. And it's really getting on my nerves because he's spoiling great games. And it's not about you, Mike.